Such a great message. It was just an amazing message. Thank you. That was a great song. If we just start every day with gratitude for what we have, sometimes we just forget how much is going on. A simple thing like turning on the water. Just going to your sink and water flows into your home. All right? I was reading about some of the richest people in the 1800s, and they didn't have water. They had to go out to a well or send their workers out to the well. We have so many things that we take for granted. So just to think about being grateful is a wonderful thing to do, and you will not be sad anymore. I mean, sometimes we get sad because we think things aren't going our way. But that's okay. Things don't always go exactly the way you want, and there's a reason for that. Something sticky right there. But that's okay, because we do have so much in our lives. And so just to remember that will bring us up out of the sadness and know how grateful and how blessed we really are. So last week we had a wonderful, wonderful speaker in Chuck Roundtree. And he talked about the love effect and just how much, and maybe it's on my own shoe, because everywhere I go I'm sticking. Anyway, he talked about what I talk about, what it's all about. And that's just simply love, the effect of love in our lives and how powerful that is. When I look at the map of consciousness, and I can't remember, do you remember who the guy is that wrote that book, The Map of Consciousness? It's Power versus Force. David something. Yeah, you can look it up for me. What is it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But he has and you can just look up the map of consciousness, and he talks about all the emotions that we have and where they are in terms of the energy that comes from those emotions that we have. And so just love, and as much as I love, what is it?
David
Hawkins, thank you. I thought you said Atkins. It was Hawkins. You're right. David Hawkins. Look that up. Power versus force. And it's just about all the emotion that you have and where they are in terms of consciousness and the energy that you have around those words and when you're feeling that. And we know that we're all energy, right? We know that energy is who we are and what we are and how we draw things into our lives. So if words have energy and our thoughts have energy, it would behoove us to know what energy those words, how much energy each of the words that we use or the feelings that we have, and what we're drawing into our lives. And the reason for that is so that we begin to understand how responsible we are for what comes into our lives by our thoughts and the words that we use. The words that we use are talk about or say or show what it is we're feeling, the words that we're using. So even though I love love, I think that unconditional love is so powerful, but it's not the most powerful. It doesn't have the most energy. Obviously, the most energy is when you are enlightened, and I don't know that we're ever going to get there. I don't know if I'm going to get there on this planet, because there's lots of things in the way. But peace is below enlightenment. Peace. So it's love, which I'm always talking about. Joy, which I want to talk about today, is higher than even love. The energy of joy, just being joyful in a day, and then peace. Being peaceful, taking peaceful, being peace, taking peace with you wherever you go. These are high energetic ways of being in the world. And so he talked about love, which I love that. My talk today is about what brings you life. What brings you life? And life is about, how you feel about how you go through your day. Are you going through your day just dragging, just wish the day would end? Or are you just excited about it? What happens next? What comes next? It's so amazing. And one of the things that we do as human beings and as a part of a collective consciousness is that we're always talking about the work we do has to be what brings us the money. Like, how do we live better? So rather than looking at things to do and work to do that brings us joy, we've always been told, get a degree what degree is that you're going after? That is worthless. You got to be a doctor or an accountant or somewhere where you can get paid. So no one wants you to be an actor, because pretty much if you're going to be an actor, or 2% of the people in the world actually make a lot of money being an actor. So don't do that. That is a crazy job. But the fact is, what we actually are here to do is the thing that brings us joy. The thing that brings us the most life. And you know this by when you're doing something and time flies. It doesn't feel like work at all. And you're shocked when you look up and you think, oh, 4 hours have gone by? What in the world has happened? Whatever that is you've been involved in, it's what brings you joy. And so I'm writing my fiction book to go with my coaching class. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what the name of it's going to be, so I won't talk about that right now because it keeps changing. But I'm writing the book just because it's about taking people through a class without having to be in the class. They could actually just read the book and go through whatever it is they're doing and learning about themselves on their own time. So that's why I'm writing that book. And then I wrote a fiction book a while back, and I let a few friends read it, and they have been on me about, well, where's the next part? I mean, this is a series, right? Where's the book 2? I was like, oh, okay, oh, God, I got to sit down and start writing. So I said, you know what, Pjae? They have a creative writing class at TCC South, which is 10 minutes from your house. So go ahead and sign up for that class. And it's not that they're going to show you a whole bunch, because I do know how to do it, but it's just going to make me accountable. If I have to show up every day and write, that's really all writing is showing up every single day and just writing something down. And so I was telling my friend, who is the assistant in the class, I'm going to join the class, and she said, oh, yeah, God, yeah, here's how you do it. Here's the name of the class. I'm going to go up there and sign up. Then she called me back and she said, listen, you know, it's on Tuesday, so show up with a short story, you know, the 6 minutes that you can read to the class. Oh, brother. Oh, man, am I going to write something already? So I sat down, and I started writing a story. And I didn't have a lot of time because I was going to a play yesterday, so I'm going to start writing some stuff down. Huh. Well, this is fun. And then my alarm rang, and it was time for me to leave. Really? Already? I didn't realize how much joy just sitting there and writing fiction, not nonfiction. Nonfiction is work because you got to think about what you want people to know. When it's fiction, it's just your imagination. And ooh, do we have imagination? We can think up anything, and it can go wherever you want it to go. So I bring that up to say this. We don't always remember what brings us joy. I've forgotten how much joy I have in just sitting down and creating a story out of nothing, just from living and just things that make me laugh and talking about things that I talk about on Sunday morning, you know, just cussing out drivers or where's the love? You know, so, you know what I mean? So that's what we get to do. So what I'm reminding you of is that we are all here with something we love to do. And because we get busy with work and bringing in money to the home, which is important to do, we forget that. We forget, and we don't remember that if we did what we loved, not only would you have this emotion of having plenty, you'd actually have plenty. Your bank account would actually reflect that. So I encourage you to remember to sit down or go out. Maybe it's running, maybe it's marathoning. Who knows? And who knows where that takes it? I was talking with my grandson. He called me up. I think Pjae is. I feel like he's still 2, but he's 26. They grow so fast, it's unbelievable. And so he lives in. He moved to Phoenix, and his friend has a business, and his friend called him from. He's in Texas, where he was, and his friend asked him to move to Arizona and work with him. And so he did that. He's done it before. He worked with his friend, so he likes working with them. But he called me and he said, "Grandma, I'm so tired." And he when he was young, he played football. He played little league football, whatever the little football is that you play when you're young. He got hit a lot in his head, so he's got little problems with remembering things, and he's got a few little problems with that, and he gets little headaches and stuff. So he has little episodes, and so he said, "I'm just so tired, and I don't get off much." And he said, "My episodes are increasing." And I said, "Yes, because you're tired, and you're not really doing what you love." So just remember what you love about this, because that's why you went, because you actually love it. And this is your friend. So just talk with him and say, when I first came out here, when you asked me to come, these were the things that I was supposed to be doing. But now I feel like I'm working 24/7. I'm not doing any of the things that I loved to do. I need to go back to that. Let's talk about how we can bring more of that joy into this work, because I want to be here with you. So that's what we get to talk about. What brings you joy? And as I said, sometimes it's just so simple, and we just don't even get that this is my work. This is my work in the world. All of us have work in the world to do, believe me. We all have work in the world to do. But because it brings you so much joy, because it's so simple for you, you don't think it's important. But it is. My granddaughter, so she has to be younger than Trey, so she must be 22. I have to count it back down. I think she's 22, and or somewhere around there. And she's younger than 26, let me just say that. I can say that for sure. And she moved from Colorado. No, I think she was in Utah. Her and her mom, she was in Utah, and she moved to Dallas. So she lives in Dallas, and she's a nurse, or she works at a hospital, and she loves it. But her mom was on a trip to Florida, and so she was supposed to stop in Dallas, and which she did, because there was a layover in Dallas. And there was some kind of bad weather somewhere. So she said, well, if I'm going to get laid over in Dallas, can I just fly out the next day instead of the late flight? And they said, oh, yeah. So they let her fly out the following day. So she had that afternoon to be with her daughter. And so they came to visit me. And they came up to my house in Fort Worth. And my other niece was there as well, because her mother was doing some work at the Treehouse, which is where I live. And we've got a building that people use for catering and just for parties and things like that. So my sister was there. And so her daughter, my niece, was there. So the four of us didn't have anything to do. We weren't a part of the party. So we went back to my house, and we just sat and started talking. See, just sitting around talking with the people you love and having them share with you what their concerns are. Pjae, how do you know this, that, or the other thing? How do you know this is my favorite topic, is to talk about spirituality. How do you know when it's God talking to you about whatever it is? And I said, well, honey, if you don't know, then just tell Spirit to make it clear. Say, I don't know if this is you talking or just me wanting to do something. Make it clear. That's a prayer. See, a prayer doesn't have to be you on your knees with your hands all folded, which is fine. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm saying that's not the only way. I pray and ask for help wherever I am. Because sometimes I'm looking at something and I want to be loved everywhere I go. But I'm looking at something, or I'm surrounded by something, that love isn't the first thing that pops up. You know what I'm saying? And so I have to do a quick prayer. Remind me, Father. Remind me, George, actually I call him George. Okay, remind me, George, what am I looking at? You're looking at love. Right. Okay. Very good. Thank you. And so it's always love. It always transforms. As soon as I ask, that's my prayer, right then and there. Show me the way. What's mine to do is a favorite prayer for me. I'm in the middle of something. I don't know should I be talking? Because I could talk. I don't know if you guys know me that well. Oh, you do. I see that you do. I love to talk. I love to share. I also love to hear from you. What's happening for you? What are your concerns? What did you know? I was talking to Jim in the class this morning, and he was sharing with me a book. I haven't read that, by the way. What was it, The Soul something? The Journey of the Soul. Yeah, I've not read that book. But it sounds really interesting, so I'm going to get that when I leave. So I love that. I love talking. I don't know if you guys know that Pat has a wonderful blog. It's called Cowtown Mystic, yeah? Cowtown Mystic. And this girl has been a mystic her whole life. So she's been doing this blog, I think, for 3 years. Cowtown Mystic. Look it up. She has so much she has shared with life, and she is very irreverent about life. Just, honey, this is the way it is. All right, just live it. Just do your thing. And so she's very encouraging in that way. So there's so many ways in which you can be supported. There's so many ways for you to discover, if you don't already, know what it is that you love. If you do know, but you're not doing it because you don't think it matters, listen to this. This is being recorded. So you don't have to call me up. You can call me up. I'll remind you. But if you don't want to call me up, just listen to this, because this is your reminder. Okay? What you love is the thing you're supposed to be doing. What brings you more life, whatever it is you do, and time just flies. That's yours to do. It not only brings you joy, but it brings people around you joy. Here's what I know for sure. That whatever it is that's yours to do, there are people Because we're magnets, right? We are the energy that we have. We are magnets. We draw to us the people, the places, the circumstances that are aligned with our dominant thinking, our dominant joy. So if you are doing what brings you joy, you are going to attract the people who want to be around that, who need that information. Carter was sharing with us one time, we were doing afterwards, which we do after, if I'm speaking, we do afterwards. We just sit over there after the service is over and just you guys can share with each other, with me and with each other, just whatever's on your mind. But we were talking about, as you get older, you're concerned about your memory. It's just a thing we do. But what she reminded us, because she's the dean of the computer department. Assistant dean of the computer department over at UT Arlington. And so she said this, and so I shared this with everyone. And so if you have some concern about memory, here's what she said. It's a brilliant, and I tell everybody, and they love it. She said, remember when you first get a computer? Remember that? And it just, man, that sucker just flies, right? It just zip, 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 just does everything. Just gets there and back. Well, I've had my little Mac for about 10 years now. It doesn't zip as much. It doesn't zip like it used to. It doesn't grab all that information. And here's why, she says. Because when you first get it, there's nothing in there. There's no information. You haven't stored all those files. But as you are going, and I don't erase hardly anything, which is probably something I should be doing. But I keep everything I've ever put in there. So when I ask it a question, it has to dig around, like, girl, I don't know where you put this. I got to find it and get it back to you. Your mind is the same way. Of course, young people their memory is there because they don't got anything in there. They don't have years of information and files that they've stored, life's experiences, but you do. So, okay, somebody comes up and you go, who is that? And you know who they are, but your name is not there. Just give it a second. Just calm down and let it float up. It will come, I assure you. It will come. So when you find yourself worrying about your memory, just breathe, relax, do something else, and it'll float up. Oh, yeah, here's what it is. And it might come a half hour later, and you're like, somebody else is like, oh, yeah, were we talking? But it don't matter. Doesn't matter, okay? So just know that. My point is this. Everyone has genius. Everyone has something that they love. Everyone has something that you're supposed to be doing for yourself that is not just for yourself. It's not selfish to do what you love. We think that. We're growing up thinking that it's selfish just to do what I love. It's not selfish. It's selfish, actually, to me, in my mind, not to do it. Because it's not just about you. We're in this world together. Everything is not ours to do. But what is yours to do, do that. Because someone is looking for what you bring to the table. That's what we're here to do. That's how we show love for one another. Showing love for ourselves, doing what's ours to do, and sharing it with the world, okay? So do what gives you life. So it is.